Hey guys, Brandon with Flyin Miata back for another FM Live. Today we're going to talk about lights. So as always, you have questions, drop them in the comments. We'll get to them at the end of our little spiel here. And as always, links in the descriptions for all this stuff. So maybe not this one. So we have new headlights. So we talked about these a while ago, and I'll go back through them real briefly in a minute here. But today we're going to talk about these. So these are the Holley Retrobright headlights. They are LED headlights, which is why they're fancy. They are also LED headlights that don't look like goofy bug-eyed whatever thing. They look like stock headlights mostly. So you get the advantage of LEDs. They're about twice as bright as stock, much lower energy draw. They last basically forever. And better color as well, and a little bit better pattern. So the neat thing about the RetroBrights, as you can see, is again, they look like stock. So if you want the benefits of LEDs, but you don't want the goofy looks, here you go. So these have, much like the Sealed 7 headlights here, these have a polycarbonate lens on them. It is UV treated, it won't shatter, and it's about 10 times stronger than glass. So this is a better material for the lens of your headlight. These have a 2-year warranty. They are DOT compliant. Now, one thing as far as comparing them to stock, they do have a different profile that I actually prefer, but you can see how these are very convex. The lens itself, and this is still a little convex but quite a bit flatter, so that is a difference there. And then if we're going to line them up with where they would sit, they're both going to protrude about the same amount, and I can show you in the car here. It's just that this protrudes the entire diameter, if you will, and this only protrudes that much in the very center. So there are two different versions of these. There is a classic, which is a warm white. It's more of a yellow kind. It's not yellow, but it's more of like the halogen, real warm kind of yellow-ish that you normally think of with older cars. And then there is the modern white, which is a much more white. It's not a blue white. It's a white. And it's all personal preference. So now specifics, the classic with the warm white is a 3000 Kelvin. The modern is a 5700 Kelvin. So again, that just kind of defines the temperature of the color there. As far as output, they are both the same. Low beam is 2000 lumens, high beam is 3000 lumens. So, and one thing to bear in mind with both of these, but not with this one, incandescent is, we all probably know how it works, but the really short version is there's a wire that gets super hot. That's not the case with LEDs, which means that they are not as good at melting snow off of the face of the lens. So may or may not actually be an issue for you, but something to bear in mind. Both of these are not going to do a great job of that, but they will do a fantastic job of letting you actually see things in your way when they're not covered in snow, which is probably basically all the time. So let's look at the lights here real quick. Turn them on for you guys. So you can see the difference in the colors. So this one is a little more of the warm white. That is a much more white, modern, crisp light. You can see we've got our switchbacks installed in this car. You can see that those two colors kind of match. These two colors, not quite as much. So as far as pattern and what it looks like, we don't have a fantastic setup, so apologies, but that's what the modern looks like. They both have the same pattern here. You can see it's pretty sharp cutoff here. It's not razor sharp, which can get annoying with street signs flashing as the car goes up and down. You've got a little bit of a kick up here, and then again, the classic is the same. just a different color tone. You can see the color or the pattern is about the same. It's got the little kick. It's got the fairly sharp but not crazy sharp cutoff. It fills in nicely here. A little bit of a hot spot right in the middle there, but it's more of that. It has the same color generally as a stock headlight. It just has a whole lot more light output. Now, what the really interesting thing is when we compare it to a stock sealed beam, which is not even close. Okay. So you can see it's kind of close. It's pretty close to the same color, but there's less light. It's more of a vague line there. It's more concentrated here. There's less light everywhere else. So they just don't really work. I mean, they work okay. You know, they're fine. If you want the best and you don't care about aesthetics, then what you want is the sealed 7. And these are all with low beams, by the way. There's not high beams. So you can see really good light there. Again, with a pretty sharp but not crazy sharp cutoff. It's got the little kick right there. These are phenomenal. They do look kind of goofy. They are quite a bit more expensive. Worth it, in my opinion, but they are not cheap headlights for sure. So I think that is about what we have. Yeah, and I guess just numbers on the sealed 7. So whereas these have a 2,000 lumen low beam and a 3,000 lumen high beam, those have a 2,400 lumen low beam and a 4,300, excuse me, 2,400, and then a 4,300 lumen high beam. So very, very good. So, excuse me. We got some questions. We'll check for your questions once we get to the end of that, but we got a bunch of questions on the front end. So why would you install an LED headlight in an NA? Basically everything I talked about. Roughly double the light output, roughly 6 times the lifespan. These do have a 2-year warranty, by the way, and if something were to happen, you can remove it and just replace the LED portion of it. And you can see the nice heat sink they've got on the back here as well. And then they draw quite a bit less current. So you'll get better fuel economy with it. Measurably better is debatable, but your alternator is not going to work as hard with these headlights. How much do they weigh? A surprisingly popular question, or we just have one really thorough person. Both of these are heavier than stock. I actually can't recall how much. I think those are pretty close to the same. So this guy is 1 pound and 2 ounces. This guy is 1 pound and 13 ounces. So, you know, 3/4-ish of a pound heavier for these guys than this guy. If that matters, okay. We've got some lithium batteries we'd love to sell you that make a way bigger difference. But yeah, technically they are a little bit heavier. Can I buy these in the UK? Are these legal in fill in the blank? Do these have an E number? Excellent question. We would be happy to ship them to you wherever you happen to be. As far as the legality in your country other than the US, I really don't know. We got that question a little late. Tried to find an answer to it. We're not able to. We will fill that in the comments if we find it. Yes, Mike?
The cutoffs are all for left-hand drive.
Yes, that's an excellent point. So UK, we would be happy to send them to you, and you wouldn't like them very much because the pattern is specifically for left-hand drive, not right-hand drive. So sure we'll sell it to you, but you won't be happy with it. Are these DOT legal in the US? Yes, they are DOT compliant, SAE standards met and exceeded, all that fun stuff. Do these cause hyperflash? So there's a misunderstanding there. LEDs by themselves do not cause hyperflash. When you use LEDs being low resistant bulbs in something that looks for specific resistance, and we're talking about your turn signals specifically here, then that can cause hyperflash. So if you put an LED bulb into a socket that's intended, into a turn signal socket that's intended for an incandescent bulb with higher resistance, yes, it will hyperflash. If you install an LED headlight in your car where something is not looking for a specific resistance, there is no flasher relay, no, it will not cause hyperflash. Totally separate situations there. How do these compare to Morimoto and stock? I think I just did that. Dramatically better than stock, not quite as good as the Morimoto Sealed 7s. So I do really like these. I do recommend them. If you're not real worked up about the aesthetics and you're okay with the price and you want the best output possible, these are your headlights. Color temperature of the lights, again, 3000 for the classic, 5700 Kelvin for the modern. The beam pattern cutoff line, we showed all that stuff. How are these better than the cheap halo lights on Amazon? Loaded question. So I think the really short version there is the old adage that you get what you pay for is very true with that. There are some that are okay. There's some that are okay until you look at the specifics, and most of them are just not okay at all. We had a set from a trusted supplier. They said, this is great, you should try this out. We tried it out. The light output was phenomenal. It was very good, and it ended like 30 feet in front of the car. I think the cutoff line was such that you had to, if here's the majority of your light output and here's your cutoff, you have to adjust it here so that you're not blinding everybody else, which means that now your light is great immediately in front of the car. So if you're going 2.5 miles an hour, perfect. You'll see everything. If you're going anything more than that, you're either going to blind oncoming traffic or you're not going to see very far at all. So be careful of that kind of thing. As always with here at FM, we test our products. We don't just throw stuff on the shelf. So if it's something that we sell, then it is good. We have tested it, and it is something that we will stand behind. So, will they blind oncoming drivers? If you have the high beams on, yep. If they're misaligned, yep. If they are properly aligned and you don't have the high beams on, no. Obviously coming over a crest, so the headlights are pointed high relative to where your oncoming traffic is, sure. There's specific situations that's always going to happen, but generally speaking, no, they're not going to blind oncoming traffic. And again, with that, they have a pretty crisp cutoff, but not a razor sharp cutoff, because a razor sharp cutoff is annoying for you as a driver because as the car bounces, the street signs are basically going to flash at you. And that also means that as the car bounces, oncoming drivers may see that, and it may look like you're flashing your headlights at them. It's kind of still a possibility, I guess, but it's not really something that's terribly likely with these cars. So that is all the questions I have on the front end. We have no questions. Okay. All right. Well, as always, thanks for stopping by. You have more questions, you think of them later, drop them in the comments. We'll get to them. If you like this, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. If you have ideas for more videos, please let us know. We're always looking for more ideas. We will be back here next Thursday, 2 o'clock Mountain Time, for another FM Live. Thanks, guys. See you next time.